Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Dr. Tomato, and I am posting this review for this episode very late. I was going to have this up the day after the episode came out, but I was very busy yesterday, so yeah, it takes me a while to upload this thing. But anyway, the Season 2, Episode 2 of Rick and Morty just aired, and it was called Mortynight Run. And I thought it was a very well done episode, once again very funny, and this episode really showed through like the dark humor of Rick and Morty. It has a very depressing plot, but at the same time it manages to be really funny because it's Rick and Morty, you know, it's a hilarious show. But this episode starts off with Rick teaching Morty how to drive his spaceship when Jerry comes along, because Jerry believes the father should be present when his son learns to drive. So they drop off Jerry at a daycare made for Jerry's. There's actually like an alternate world. Rick made a daycare just for Jerry, so all these Jerrys from the multiverse are dropped off there, and that's basically the subplot for Jerry in the episode. And I thought it was a very funny, well done subplot, because most of the time when there is like a subplot, it's just kind of like a sitcom-y family thing between like Jerry and Beth. But this time it's done like in a very sci-fi type way, and I love sci-fi stuff, so of course I love seeing this subplot. So then after dropping off Jerry, Rick sells a gun to an assassin, and Morty sees this and sees that it's wrong. And the reason Rick sold the gun is because he wants money so he can go and spend a day out at Blitz and Chits, which is a arcade kind of in like on a different planet. It's like this futuristic arcade thing. And what they do there is they play Roy, which is this very creative game where you play in the life of like another person, and you just have to see how long you can survive. But it's not like they're on an adventure or something. Like, it's just an everyday life of an average person, and just seeing how far you can go and how long you can survive in just the everyday life. And it's very creative. The fact that it's just a throwaway joke, it was very well done, very funny. But anyway, so Morty tries to stop the assassin because he doesn't want him to kill anyone. So Morty crashes his spaceship into the assassin and ends up killing him. Of course, something Morty would do. Of course, that's more of the dark humor that Rick and Morty is so good at. Just like Morty's trying to save the day and just ends up killing this guy, you know, so completely messes up like he always does. So Rick shows up and he's pretty much saying Morty's crazy and that they should have just gone back and spent their day at the arcade, but Morty thinks it's the right thing to do to help the guy that the assassin was going to kill. So they find out that this guy is actually this like kind of gas blob alien thing that they name Fart, of course. Rick names him Fart. But so they have to help Fart get back home. So they decide that they'll take him to his portal that he wants to get to. And this results in lots of deaths because the police are after them. There's lots of chase scenes and stuff in this episode. And I really did realize how good the animation is in Rick and Morty. I mean, like, compared to most Adult Swim shows really don't have that good of animation. But Rick and Morty's is actually like, you could probably put on like Cartoon Network, because Cartoon Network shows seem to have a lot better animation. So they take him home to his portal, and then Fart tells them his plan about how he plans to destroy the human race, and Morty shoots him and ends his life, and then they just go back home and pick up Jerry, and that's the end of the episode. You know, they end on a really depressing note, and it's not the first time that Rick and Morty has done this. There was like the episode Rick Potion number 9. That was probably one of the best episodes. The ending was just so messed up and depressing, yet at the same time it was such a hilarious episode. And I think that's what's great about this show. It's just like, that was really depressing, and now I'm kind of depressed after watching that, but I still had a really good fun time watching it. It just combines these two opposite things, you know, funny and depressing, and then just like puts them together in the perfect way. I thought the episode was really funny. It's probably funnier than last week's episode was, and maybe that's just because the subplot was also funny. Because the subplot last week was fine, you know, but the sci-fi story with Rick was so much better. But I think this time they were a bit more balanced in how good they were, so they managed to be both funny, the subplot and the main story. And there was just some really funny jokes. A lot of characters from past episodes and stuff return. You even see like Gazorpa Zorpfield is playing on the TV, and I thought that was just a funny addition. You see past characters. Meeseeks is in the background. Mr. Meeseeks is in the background at one scene, and I was just like, hey, it's Mr. Meeseeks, and then he just disappeared, of course, because it's Mr. Meeseeks. He completed his mission. Now he can die. We also see the return of Gearhead, and he actually plays a much bigger part in this episode, and this results in some really funny scenes. Also, I don't know who played the voice of Fart in this episode, but he also did like a lot of singing and stuff, and he probably is a famous singer. I don't know who he is, but yeah, he did like this song called like Goodbye Moonman that he would always sing, and it was just completely out of nowhere. Didn't really make any sense, yet I enjoyed every bit of it. Like, just this random song that's very well written and really doesn't have anything to do with the episode, and it results in like these really trippy scenes that are very well done. Remind me of something like maybe the old Yellow Submarine movie, with like how things would morph into like different shapes and stuff. You know, they didn't have to be there to make this a good episode, but them being there just made this episode even better. And the song Goodbye Moonman is a very well written song. Like, the fact that Rick and Morty of all shows gets like such a well written good song that sounds like something that David Bowie or someone would sing, that was pretty great. Just that song was very well done. And speaking of the character Fart, this episode of course resulted in a lot of fart jokes, and they were actually very well done, surprisingly. You know, most of the time when a show does something like that, it's just not funny at all, but Rick and Morty, that's one thing they can do, fart jokes. They're good at that. So overall, I really did enjoy this episode. I liked how, once again, it combined the depressingness of Rick and Morty and how cruel the world is they live in with the humor that Rick and Morty has. So I thought this was just a really fun episode, and I hope to see more great episodes like this in the future. That's all. Thank you for watching, guys. I'm Dr. Tomato, and if you like this video, please like the video or subscribe to my channel. And I do have other TV show reviews and stuff coming up in the future, and some other ones in my channel as well. So thanks again. Bye.